Welcome back to my channel. I'm Siobhan Patrice, and I just want to thank you for viewing my channel. We will be reviewing the final season, and I'm so sad about that. But the first episode in the final season of Iyanla fixed my life. Again, this is the final season, and it's the first episode, and it's the episode with Lisa Ray. It's kind of a continuation, or maybe not. Well, anyway, it's her coming back. The first time she came, she was assisted by her mom and her daughter. And so this time she's coming back for the healing for herself. And Iyanla actually kind of admitted that she may have done it backwards. She should have worked with Lisa Ray first, and then brought on her mom and her daughter. But at any rate, this is the way it happened. Lisa Ray says she's ready to be healed, and so she's ready. And her reasoning for coming back and doing a second part is because after the first experience, she felt some guilt and shame and uneasiness around how that went. It's almost like she felt it was still something that she did not get, that she knew she was supposed to get. So she was coming back for her second portion. And coming back for your second portion is something to be said about that. It's somewhere in the Bible. I don't know. Anyway, y'all drop down in the comments and tell me where they talk about, is it double portion? Second portion, double portion, same thing. Anyway, so Iyanla asks about her daughter Kai, and why didn't Kai come back with her? And Lisa Ray, just said, Kai, about her money. And she said her time equals money. And since there was no money in it for her, yeah, she ain't had no time. So I appreciate the fact that Iyanla didn't elaborate on that, because I think a lot could have been said, but it probably wouldn't have been fruitful, nor give life. That's kind of a dig. So I appreciate her not responding to that, because it takes a certain type of woman to just realize that sometimes the response is not a response. And so then she asked about her mom and how her mom was doing, and Lisa was like, well, she's still packing. She's been packing since we got back to LA, and she still ain't made it back to Chicago. However, we had some conversations, and I understood where she was coming from, and so she is where she is, and I'm here trying to get some more help. Okay, so they finally get to the house, and Iyanla comes in, and she takes her to a staircase, and the staircase is a representation of the journey that she has to take, and it's like an ascending of steps, and each step represents a valley. And those valleys was understanding, change, a valley of non-resistance, a valley of OPP. I thought that was interesting. Valley of purpose and intent, a valley of success. The steps ascended up to what she had set up as a throne. So it was a beautiful ornate chair, and in the chair sat the pillow with the crown. And she just explained to her, the process that she wants to be able to go through with her to get her to her throne. Okay, so then Iyanla goes on to explain the process and says that how it's important that Lisa Ray understands that she's going to have to start at the bottom, at the valley of understanding. And in that valley, it's going to take a lot of courage. And then she gave a quote or something that Maya Angelou told her. The meaning of courage is when you do something on your own without being prompted, forced to do it, or put in a position where you had no choice but to do it. Her biggest takeaway from the episode with Lisa Ray, Kai, and her mom was the level of resistance. Lisa Ray identified what went on in that experience as how nobody really opened up and their ability to feel. And Iyanla was like, nah, the resistance was real with y'all. So Iyanla went on to explain the importance of feeling, and feeling is within, right? So you have to feel, like she talked about feeling from your heart. And so many times, but I think, I don't know, I think it's kind of justified, especially, I can only speak for myself, and in my role of parenting, especially since I was the only parent after my husband passed, is that as a single parent, feeling, yeah, I didn't really have a lot of time to feel. It was about making it happen. So thinking was important to me. I stay in my head a lot because I'm always trying to figure out, how the next thing is going to happen. So feeling is something I believe is not so common, especially in single moms. We don't really get to feel. We got to take care of these kids and make it happen. Yeah, so then Iyanla asked Lisa about her relationship with her sister. And everyone knows her sister is the brat, and what happened with that. And she went on to explain to Lisa Ray how her relationships with the women in her life was actually a representation of three parts of her. Her sister represented the person she is now. Her daughter represented the person that she was growing up, and her mom represents the woman she will become. And Lisa Ray has such a look on her face. She has a serious look on her face. That's almost like I dare you to try me, bitch, please. Girl, get the out of here. Her face, her expression says all those things. So I thought that was interesting. But Iyanla wanted to start her with hard work, and that's what she coined it as. This journey is going to be a journey to soften her heart and soften it enough. Well, actually, it's almost like she was going to have to break her heart for her heart to open up. And the space that she wanted to get her to was the space of the broken heart that had opened, and then Lisa can reside in that space. And so it was almost like that was the goal. At least that's what I thought. What did y'all think? Okay, so then Iyanla asked Lisa Ray about her dad, and she expressed that her father was her first heartbreak. And I thought that was sad because she was so in love with her dad. She kind of, that daddy daughter title, she wears that with a badge of honor. So to hear that her daddy broke her heart was surprising. I just didn't expect her to say that. But Iyanla asked her, how did your dad get wheelchair bound? And so Lisa explained that, she was a baby when that happened. He was robbed. And so she's only known her dad to be wheelchair bound. And so that was just a part of her life. And she spoke about how when she was younger, she was pushing him in a wheelchair, and she felt like maybe he could walk. He just was choosing to sit in a wheelchair. She was young and didn't really quite understand exactly fully what being in the wheelchair was about. And so she was pushing him and he fell out, or she was trying to help him and he fell or something. And how, that kind of, she was taken aback by that. And then she finally realized, okay, no, it's that he can't walk. And so then she adopted the mindset that, okay, so we're going to have to take care of him. And so that kind of explains a lot of her attachment, especially if she felt the most important person in her life, the person that she was the closest to, she had to help. Now understand the attachment, the bond that she has with her dad. It was all, it just explained a lot. I don't even know how to explain it, but it explained a lot. And she spoke up, Iyanla asked her about how her father broke her heart. Why did she feel that way? And one of the stories that she told about was that her dad had a girlfriend, and the dad put the girlfriend's daughter in the same high school, some kind of chartered high school that Lisa Ray went to. And Lisa Ray felt that she was robbed. She felt that like that young lady and the girlfriend and the young lady was taking her place. It's almost like, how dare he? That's something that we have. How dare he offer somebody the same thing that I get, because she just held herself on a different level with her dad. At least that's what she thought. And so when she talked about heartbreak, that was one of the things that made her feel a certain type of way. And Iyanla asked her, so you didn't have a problem with him having a girlfriend when he clearly is supposed to be married to your mom, but your problem was that the daughter was kind of infringing on your territory. And so she kind of gave a little pause, but no, she, that was what she considered normalized. And so nobody talked about that. It was like, that was avoidance. And I guess it was so common, she didn't really see it as anything wrong. Although, and that's why as women, we need to really be mindful of the environment we create around our children or in the household, because a child can only operate from their point of reference. And if their point of reference is, well, yeah, my parents are married, but my daddy always had a girlfriend. So, she really didn't see anything wrong with having a girlfriend. That was not something that was out of the norm. So she didn't see anything wrong with that. And I can really, relate to that experience because I grew up in a non-traditional, or what one would call a non-traditional household where my parents were married, but they clearly lived their own separate lives in addition to having a life together for the sake of we are a family. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, I'll do a story time about that. Then through an exercise of getting through to her feelings, and it was like an exercise that she coined, an exercise of non-resistance. And so she asked her a series of questions, and really what the exercise taught her was everything that goes on her life ties back to her relationship with her dad, or the attachment she had around her relationship with her dad. And she had Lisa Ray laying out on the floor, and she made the statement that I thought was interesting. And the statement was that she had a sense that Lisa Ray's vulnerability as a child was exploited, or her level of innocence was taken away. But she didn't go, at least we didn't see where she went deeper into that. And to me, I don't know, it just seemed like it's something else to that, because that statement to me is a little deeper than the way it was shown. It was kind of just something that was said, and then they went on to the next thing. And then she talked about an experience where when she was a child, her mom was cooking some beans or something, and I went next door to the neighbor's house, and the beans were left on the stove, and a small fire broke out, and she could not get out of an apartment. And so she, in fear, just went back in her room. And so Iyanla got her to see, or made the statement that, okay, so that experience had taught you that when you feel frightened, something can happen, and the attachment is, the feeling is, nobody is here with me. I'm all alone trying to go through this by myself. And so I was like, yeah, that was good. I thought that was good. And then she talked about the feeling of loneliness, and her sharing her dad and how with his other families. I was like, wow. But in the episode with her mom kind of laid it all out there, and that was a marriage of convenience. And it was almost like I have things that I think about. I talk about ships, and people have relationships. You have a money ship. You have even within a marriage, and you can have a sex ship. It's a whole bunch of ships. But relationships people think that's what they're in, but they're not. They're in some ships, but it ain't don't have nothing to do with relational, because relational is a give of respect level between two people who are giving and taking. And if you got other families, yeah, it's no respect in that. So Iyanla went on to question Lisa Ray about her marriage, and Lisa expressed out how her husband reminded her so much of her dad. So then Iyanla was able to lay out an imaginary map for Lisa Ray as to how every relationship that she has or have been in ties back to the betrayal from her relationship or her experience of her dad. And I thought that was good. It was just so many good things. And I guess for me, it was so personal. I can relate to so much of Lisa Ray's story. So it was kind of eerie, but it was personal. And that was like, wow, that's deep. How, we are going through life, and a lot of our doing and the way we do it and the way we show up and our reactions and responses are a reflection of our past and what was shown, given to us, or what we experienced as a child. And so Lisa Ray felt betrayed, or saw betrayal in the relationships around her father, and so the relationships in her life were showing up in that same manner where she felt betrayed. Her emotion to everything is like, you are betraying me, or I dare you, or something like that. So I thought that was different. And then she asked her about the Valley of OPP, other people problems, and she asked about how OPP, how does her mom and her daughter represent that valley of other people problems, and how she shows up to them, and how with them in that experience when they were a part of it, they both stated that Lisa Ray, they never felt that Lisa Ray really is present with them. It's like, she is the bag, right? And so the bag is here. The bag kind of takes care of us. We kind of got to dance when the bag say dance. Sometimes the bag come through here and she hell on wheels, and we got to put up with that too. Sometimes we, she bark and we bark back. But she the bag. And so that's also a representation of the experience with her growing up, because that's who her dad was. Her dad was the bag, meaning the money bag. He had the pocketbook. He had the pocket. Well, men don't carry pocketbooks, so I say the bag. He had the bag, and then she got the pocketbook. So stuff is ran according to that. And how, here one more again, her life and the way she is living her life is actually all attachments that she have placed on her emotions that allows her to operate in that same manner. And I thought that was good. And then Lisa Ray, it's like, Lisa Ray is a thinker. Let me just say that. Lisa Ray, and I can relate to that too, because I stay in my head. Stuff have to make sense for me. And so sometimes I get that too. People say they don't feel like I'm present, but it's not that I'm not present. I'm actually trying to process what you're saying, because in order for me to get it, it has to come together and make sense. And so Lisa Ray is in that same mindset, and Iyanla actually brought that out for her. But she kind of got agitated when she felt that Iyanla was attacking her womanness, or attacking her character, or who she was as a mother and a daughter, by saying that your people feel that you're not present in their life. And Iyanla felt it, and kind of broke it down for her to give her an understanding, to show her exactly what just happened. And well, she told her, she's like, you came here, you asked me for the help, I ain't asked you for no help. So Lisa Ray had to back that thing up, and just kind of see stuff for what it is. And she said in that moment when they broke that part down, she was like, I get it. She said, in the valley of understanding, I now know, and I'm going to choose me first. you know, for so long I have put everybody in front of me because I felt it was my job to make it happen because I held the bag. And now, you know, I'm going to choose me first. And so with that, it was like an aha moment for her. And so that was good. So then Iyanla was like, okay, so the day was about to end, and her homework assignment was to write down and identify where she is on each step. In each level of the valley, she needs to write down where she believes herself to be on each step. If they come back and it's the next morning and Iyanla's still talking about feeling, and that feeling comes from the heart, and how Lisa Ray, with her trying to process things, is her being in her head. She needs her to come out of her head and embrace what's going on in her heart, because the heart, living in her heart, says that I am being. I'm not necessarily doing, I am being. I'm being present, I'm being, I'm feeling, and I am going to operate from this. And I actually just kind of got that revelation within the last year, and it gave me so much more personal freedom. So I encourage you all to look into that, meditate on it, because if you can embrace being is so much more relaxing and edifying than doing. And I don't know, maybe I'll do a video on that to make it make sense for you all. Okay, so then Iyanla gave Lisa, well, Lisa had her packet from her homework from overnight, and she asked her to pass her the pages of the book that she had. And those pages from the book was a whole experience in themselves. And so I'm going to come back and do a separate video on that. That was an awesome, just that little piece right there was such a nugget. I feel it's going to take too long for me to really get to the meats and bones of that and make it click the way it needs to click for some people. So I'm going to come back and do a video on that. But then she spoke about the Valley of OPP, and Lisa Ray admitted where she saw herself in the Valley of OPP is being a people pleaser. And so her being a people pleaser was her valuing other people's problems before she valued what was going on with herself. And so I thought that was a good revelation for her. Yeah, so then Iyanla talked about resistance and how it's futile when the evidence of truth is just in plain sight. And she talked about how Lisa Ray behaviors, how she show up in the world, is in direct correlation with how she experiences the world. And she, they went through, it kind of went back and forth between the prior episode with Lisa Ray, her mom, and her daughter in this episode. But to get Lisa to understand what she meant by that is she said, okay, so your behavior represents your experiences. So Lisa talked with Iyanla about she wanting her daughter to move out. But then she had attachments to what she wanted it to look like in the process of her daughter moving out. And so Iyanla was like, okay, no, we need to identify what the goal is, and then we need to set the action plan to the goal. All that other stuff you're trying to put in there, yeah, that's unnecessary. We need to figure out the goal, and then we have an action plan to get to the goal. All those other attachments really is not going to mean anything. And so they established that, or Iyanla thought they had established that. But then when Lisa Ray and Iyanla had Kai come in, Lisa Ray kind of backtracked. And Iyanla was like, no. We said it was going to be a goal. State what the goal is, and then the action plan. And so Lisa Ray, she kind of, I don't know, it's almost like, in my opinion, she made it seem as if Iyanla was strongly encouraging her to put her daughter out. And I'm hoping that's not the way Kai took it, but I could see if she did feel that way, how it came about, because that's kind of almost what it looked like to me. After that, she told Lisa, well, I'm not actually going to crown you. I feel the representation of the crown is something that you do for yourself. So only you can crown yourself. However, the throne is a representation of your heart. And so I can show you where you are in that process of getting to the throne. So then they go back to the staircase, which was the representation ascending up to the throne. And then they kind of walk through each valley. And when they got to the top of the steps, the throne was decorated. It was really pretty, and it represented like a space that was befitting for a queen. It was beautifully decorated. Like I said, the chair was a beautiful ornate chair, and it had the pillow with the crown on top. And at the top of the steps, she asked Lisa, you know, was she ready? What did she think about where she is in the process? And I think Lisa got it. At least that's my opinion. What did y'all think? What she said was she understands the journey through the valleys and how she felt that those journeys were important to her and they were necessary to her, and that the lessons in those valleys, she now understands the reasoning for them, and therefore her faith coupled with the newfound understanding of the valleys is going to allow her to be in a state of being. And so she has learned to get out of her head and then live in her heart. And so Iyanla spoke about when the foundation of who you are is heart-centered, nobody can knock you off your throne. And so I thought that was amazing. So that's my review on the final season of Iyanla Fix My Life, the first episode with Lisa Ray. I thought it was good. Again, I took it personal because it was a lot of things that personally I believe related to a lot of parts of my life. However, it seems like one thing about Iyanla, I done just had, well, I'm sure I'm not the only one. How about y'all? Tell me down in the comments. A lot of experiences I've had in life, I can relate to a lot of episodes of Iyanla Fix My Life. And I'm not even going to say just my experiences, but a lot of experiences I've had, be it my own or, like I said, I was in the haircut industry for over 30 years. So being an unofficial therapist, I hear other people's problems and stuff. And so every episode of Iyanla Fix My Life has blessed my life, and I have learned something from each episode. And that's why I'm going to miss it so much. But she's left a legacy of jewels, nuggets, slogans, and I'll never forget them. I just appreciate them so much. So again, I'm Siobhan Patrice. I thank you so much for stopping past and watching my video. Become a part of my village and my community. We are a community of like-minded, laid-back people who just like to come together, fellowship, encourage, uplift, and support one another. So like, subscribe, and share the video. And until next time, remember, I love you to life, and life is a journey. So we are going to do what? Choose ourselves and enjoy the ride.